Hello, family, friends, and fans. I'm Fletcher Rhoden, and this is Fletcher Rhoden by the Book. So I'm going through my catalog, book by book, giving each one a video roundup, allowing you to consider its qualities. Maybe you'd like to get a copy. They're available, almost all of them in paperback and for Kindle, and some of them, such as this one, in audiobook format. All right, today we're looking at The Trial of Davy Crockett, my acclaimed speculative dialogue novella from 2001. Actually, it came out around September of 2001. Bad timing for me. Not a great time to have an anti American political treatise, but that's the way it goes. So, what happened is in the late 90s, rather, there was a book published attributed to a Colonel de la Pena from Santa Anna's army. And in this diary, legitimate or not, I don't know, but it was recorded that a naturalist called Crockett, or something very much like Crockett, was captured alive and not killed. And he was taken before Santa Anna, and he tries to talk his way out of it. He says, "I was just passing through," and Santa Anna has him killed. If you see the movie The Alamo, which came out in the around 2002, 2003, something like that, this moment is recorded in that film, or at least that Crockett is captured and brought before Santa Anna and killed, skewered, killed by bayonet. He's bayoneted. So this, one way or the other, I felt like, wow, we have two characters face to face, same time, same place, on naturally contradicting one another. One is representative of the American side, manifest destiny, the rugged individual. The other one, Santa Anna, is the perfect spokesman for an aggrieved Mexico whose laws have been broken by these, lawless, countryless thugs from the north, really. So why not have these two men work it out? Sit down in a room and have some wine and lay out the facts. They lay out the facts for the reader to decide for themselves who's in the right and who's in the wrong. I make no verdict. Although it is the trial of Davy Crockett, it's really the trial of the growing United States of America. The trial of manifest destiny. It's the trial of the times, sort of. And but each man is also playing a different game. It's not just let's review the facts of the Texian Revolution, but one guy is trying to manipulate the other. Each person has something to get out of it. In my book, I don't want to do any spoilers, but in my book, Crockett never ever says, "I was just passing by." My Crockett doesn't do that. In fact, my Crockett, you know, Colonel David Crockett of the state of Tennessee was a real man, but he's been often rendered in fiction. And I would put my Crockett up against any of the other Crockett's. I think my Crockett is tougher, smarter, and just all in all a better Crockett than John Wayne's Crockett was, because I was really just John Wayne in a weird hat, which Crockett never once wore in his life, by the way, never once. Um, the TV Crockett was weak. Uh, even the Billy Bob Thornton Crockett was kind of weak. You know, my Crockett is the Crockett, and my Santa Anna is the Santa Anna. He's smart. He's erudite. He plays it just right, because he wants to get something out of Crockett, and it's not just to admit that he's wrong. I don't want to get into it, but the book is really a psychological chess game between these two guys. And if you like that kind of thing, then this is the book for you. It's a bit inspired by the old show Meeting of Minds, Steve Allen, and it's one of these things where speculative dialogue between two famous men. There was one not too long ago with Sigmund Freud and C.S. Lewis, I think. And so, it's a thing, one of these speculative dialogue pieces, and this is one of those. And if you really want to know all the facts about the Texian Revolution leading up to the Alamo, this is the book to get it all in. It's quick, it's a short read, it's like 100 pages. It took a year of my life. All the facts are in it. It moves fast. It pulls you in. It's got an interesting thing about Andrew Jackson. You know, like when I've read it a lot of times. I produced and narrated the audiobook. So I went through it. I mean, I've been through this thing many times over the course of years, and it really works for me every time. The last time I read it, I thought, gee, there's a lot about Andrew Jackson in here. I don't remember focusing so much on Andrew Jackson, but the Andrew Jackson thing is critical to Santa Anna's final ploy at the end of the trial. So all the Andrew Jackson stuff really pays off in kind of a brilliant way, in ways that even I didn't expect, and I wrote the thing. Now, I'm not saying that Andrew Jackson actually did have some say in whether or not the Alamo stood or fell. I'm saying that Santa Anna proposes this, and in a way of it's a way of getting into Crockett's head, because this whole book is just one guy getting into the other's head. So and along the way, it tells the full story of the Texian Revolution, and it does not dispel the myths, because a lot of the myths came after. Like, for example, the line in the sand. You've ever heard the expression, "That's a line in the sand"? Well, what that really refers to, supposedly, is the Alamo, where Travis draws a line in the sand and says, anybody who wants to leave can step over this line. Something like that. But that never happened at the Alamo. That was a creation of screenwriters at the Disney company. They were making this movie, The Alamo, with John Wayne, and it was an invention of the screenwriter. So that never happened. A lot of the things you think of with the Alamo, like, that just didn't happen. And a lot of the things that you don't know happened did happen. Did you know that these Norte Americanos is how the Mexicans refer to them, North Americans, the whites? There was a mayor, Salcido, who was the mayor of where they were, Tejada. And a bunch of these guys got drunk and pulled this guy out, dragged him away, beat him nearly to death. And as he was dying, he asked only for one thing, that he might say a prayer. And they cut his tongue out so he couldn't do it. They cut his tongue out. The mayor, and these were people who were in another nation. They were in Mexico. They weren't in Tennessee. They weren't in Texas. They weren't in anywhere but Mexico. And they made agreements to follow rules while they were in Mexico, to follow the laws of Mexico, and they broke those laws, and they butchered Mexican authorities. So that part didn't quite make it into the Disney film. But it's in my book. All that stuff is in my book. So you read my book and you decide for yourself. This would be a great play. This would be a great movie. I've heard from lots of con men and women who pretend to be from, like, Sony Pictures, and they want to make this into a movie because it's such a well-reviewed book. It's like a 5-star book. It's really well-reviewed. The reviews are legit. The Midwest Book Review called it a must-read and not to be missed. So that's cool. And I really worked hard on it. And it's a really good book. It deserves its praise. But, that makes it a fresh meat for con artists who pretend to be from Sony and say, yeah, we like this, except we need a few changes. So here's what we'll do. We're going to hire a writer, and you pay 40%, we'll pay 60%. But of course, if you know Hollywood, it doesn't work that way. If they like your book and they want to change it, if it's really Sony Pictures, then they option the book, pay you money, and then they hire somebody, and you never have to pay a dime. If they don't ever ask you to pay anything for anything, it's a scam. And this book gets scammed a lot because of its good reviews. But it is a good book. It's a great read. It's a cool audio book. As I say, I did the audio book myself. I narrated it, and it sounds great. So you can also get it in Kindle. I think it's free, and as a paperback. And it comes. Get it in the novellas volume 1 collection. This has this book. It also has Last Tango with Marlin, another one of my tentpole production things, and lots of excerpts from other books. So it makes a very handsome gift. There's a lot of value in it, and it's two of my best books. You know, I'm very proud of Novellas Volume One. This book also I did some polishing up, and this is the most polished edition that you can get. So definitely do get it in Volume One, the Novellas Volume One. There's a link below. You can get it in audiobook format. You can get it in paperback. You can get it for Kindle. So if you've got a Western fan in your house or someone who likes the Westerns, you know, that's a great gift. If you like the Westerns, get it in, if you're a Kindle subscriber, I think it's free. So you can't beat that price. If you've never had an audiobook, maybe this will be your first audiobook. Wouldn't that be cool? So why not check it out and read my other books? Tune in again for another edition of Fletcher Rhoden By the Book. Until then, bye, Mary.